LUR Live.
Here comes struggle, here comes the danger. Welcome the savior, welcome the Rasta youths.
Music across all borders.
Hey, all aboard! It's Captain Henry Harewood and Buckingham Bunch Ship ahoy! Yes? Yo! You know! When I see your flagship ahoy, drumship ahoy, your tower ship ahoy. Every man, woman, every child, every boy, jump on the boat and sing now with joy. Yeah, flagship ahoy, drumship ahoy, your tower ship ahoy. Every man, woman, every child, every boy, jump on the boat and sing now with joy. Yeah.
LUTON Urban Radio, The Pulse.
Makes me do a number. It's me time again. School of Sunday bread. Find myself a partner. Just do easy question.
Everybody say so.
I don't wanna sleep. I don't wanna sleep. I don't wanna rock. Tell me what you're waiting for. It's time to hit the floor.
This is LUTON Urban Radio.
Tell me what you're waiting for. It's time to hit up the floor. Carnival of float. It's time to rock this boat. Come on, get in line. Strictly party time. Carnival of float. It's time to shake this boat. Come on, get in line. Strictly party time, I say.
LUTON Urban Radio, LURLive.co.uk.
Rock the boat, but don't flip it over. Cause this boat was sent by Jehovah. Sail through the black hole and this one over. And let the rock fly like super clover. Soca boat sailing 7 seas. Across the water like 7 seas. This boat sailing from the 7 keys. The guys on this boat so heavenly.
Let
So
me drink me rum. Let me have me fun. Set me soul on fire. Let me take it higher. When I sense I'm good, soca in my blood. I could jump forever. Past this one for never. I don't wanna sleep. I don't wanna sleep. I don't wanna rock. I don't wanna sleep. Tell me what you're waiting for. It's time to hit up the floor. I don't wanna sleep. I don't wanna. Tell me what you're waiting for. It's time to hit up the floor. Carnival of love. It's time to rock this boat. Come on, get in line.
This is LUTON Urban Radio.
Carnival of love. Time to rock this boat. Come on, get in line. Strictly party time, I say, yeah.
when everybody just rock up the boat.
Good evening.
Good evening, Fiona, and good evening to Luton as well.
Yeah, good evening to Luton and anyone else, wherever you are in the country, in the world.
That's
Well,
it, on
yeah.
this lovely summer's day.
It's glorious, right?
That's right.
Setting the tone for
And
this.
hotter to come.
Hotter
We're
to
gonna
come.
get hot.
We're Paul.
Sorry.
I think we're going to have lots of puns this evening. But anyway, Lady Empress alongside Paul Hammond. We're doing a very special dedication show this evening. What's it all about, Paul?
Well, we're all pleased to see Carnival come back 10 days ago.
Right.
It was great for us to, after a number of years, have it back.
Yes.
And but I think it's probably fair to say it's generated quite a bit of comment and debate.
Yeah.
We had Carnival, we were told, in its historical roots in the town centre.
Yeah.
But so there's a number of talking points about why it wasn't in Wardown Park.
Right.
And what about the sound systems?
Right.
That were noticeable in their absence. And, is this the pattern for years to come, or is it just a one-off?
Yeah.
And it's our carnival, it's the people's carnival, and it should be. And so we should have our views reflected.
Yes.
And taken to shape the carnival. But we realise that as people that put on events ourselves, we know that it's one thing to be a participant, it's one thing to be a consumer,
Right.
and it's another thing to be the organiser.
Right.
And behind the headlines, there's often sometimes very good reasons why events are the way they are.
Okay.
So this evening we want to hear from everyone.
Yes, we do.
plan to hear from people that took part in Carnival on the parade. We're going to hear from the organisers. So we're looking forward to hear from the Carnival Arts Association, and we want to hear from you specifically. Okay, whatever your opinion, you want to praise, you want to offer advice, you want to say have a bit of a moan. You know, we're here to hear all sides of the story tonight.
Right,
and to give everyone a good hearing to.
And as you said, Paul, I know there's a lot of opinion about Carnival this year and previous years actually, but I need to stress we're going to keep the dialogue very, very open but respectful.
Needs to be measured.
Right.
We know that this gives strong feelings.
Yes.
Because it's a part of the community's history.
Exactly.
And everything.
It's a cultural event, right? So sometimes people get very, very passionate in a negative or a positive way, but we're going to try and keep it very respectful. But at the same time, we want open dialogue. So we have got a few people that are going to be calling in and coming into the studio this evening. We're not going to open the phone lines until 9 o'clock ish. So I'm going to read out the number 07908 974 543. That's 07908 974 543. If you don't want to call in, because not everyone is comfortable with calling in on live radio, we completely understand that. You can WhatsApp us or text us on that number, but we really do want to hear your opinions. And it's a good idea actually if you start texting us now and don't leave it until the last minute, because sometimes when we ask people to text in, they text in at 5 to 10 and we're here until 10 and it doesn't work, and then sometimes people get a little bit upset that we haven't read out their text. So if you want to text or WhatsApp, it's 07908 974 543. We're going to open the actual phone lines. If you want to come on live, then you can call us after 9 o'clock, but we'll make that more formal. Gonna play one more tune. Yeah?
Yes, play
We'll play one more kind of carnival tune. I don't know if it was played, and I think it's important to say I did not go to Luton Carnival this year. So I'm going to be devil's advocate this evening. Whether I agree with you or don't agree with you, I'm going to play my favourite role.
Okay.
I've got my faux horns on my head, and I'm sorry because I know you're a Christian, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I'm gonna keep stressing it. We're gonna keep the conversation very open and very, very respectful.
Who is it?
It's the plumber. I've come to fix the sink.
She looking for a plumber. I went for the job, I wanted a walk. She want a bite move, so I took her low. She want me pull it on and turn it around, 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 turn it around and push it back in, turn it around and push it back in, turn it around and push it back in, turn it around and push it back in. Yet she don't give me leg. She want me to pull it on and turn it around, pull it on and turn it around, pull it on and turn it around, pull it on and turn it around and push it back in, turn it around and push it back in, turn it around and push it back in, turn it around and push it back in. Oh, the water running, boy, the water running, boy, the water running, boy, the water running. Came out, she started to shout. If you hear the words coming from she mouth. Won't you hurry up and push it back in? Can't you see the water is still running? She want me to pull it out and turn it around, pull it out and turn it around, pull
Okay, so we want to
Just trying
hear
phone
from
them.
you. We want to hear from you if you went to Luton Carnival this year. We want to hear from you. How did you have a good time? If you didn't have a good time, whatever. But like I said, we're keeping it respectful. We're keeping it open. 07908974543. You can text us. You can WhatsApp us. Got a few people that want to talk to us before we open up the phone lines. I didn't go to Carnival this year because I'm going to be honest. I was tired. And yeah, I didn't go to Carnival this year, but other members of my family went to Carnival, and they have their opinions about it, which I'm not going to talk about. But we want to hear your opinions about Carnival. Even if you didn't go this year and you went previous years, what were your reasons for not going this year? If you went prior to lockdown, or you've been going to Luton Carnival for years, how do you find it? Did you used to have a good time? Has it changed a lot over the years? So yeah, we want to hear your views. I think we've got our first caller. Who's our first caller, Paul?
We're lucky enough to speak to Fahim Qureshi. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, thanks.
Great.
Hi, Fahim. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for calling in.
No, that's great. So, Fahim, I'd like you to. What's your current role?
Well, I think we need to introduce who Fahim is. Yeah,
that's it. So, what's your current role? Update us on what you're doing currently, sir.
Okay. Well, I've had a number of roles since I left Culture Trust.
Yeah.
I was working in Birmingham. I was with the Irish Forum producing St. Patrick's Festival. So currently I'm kind of like taking it easy, but also doing freelance work. I've just, today in fact, I was helping the Diwali Festival. We're putting in some funding applications and getting ready for the Diwali Festival in Luton. So I'm in October, so I'm helping them out. So I'm kind of like a freelance producer, fundraiser at the moment. That's what I'm doing.
So was you involved in Luton Carnival this year?
Sorry, can you just repeat that, please?
Was you involved in Luton Carnival this year?
I have been historically involved in Luton Carnival. In fact, I used to produce the Carnival event from 2003 to 2007 as the event producer when I was at Luton Borough Council. So that's been my involvement with Carnival. And then I helped launch the UK Centre for Carnival Arts, the UKCCA, when that first opened in 2008. I was involved in helping produce the launch event for the centre. It's a wonderful event. So over the recent years, I've kind of I haven't really been involved in Carnival. I've been a kind of an innocent bystander, as it was. And I've seen Carnival develop, and I've seen the different changes in routes. I've seen the wonderful development in the quality of the Carnival costumes that have been presented. And in terms of the artistic quality of the parade, it's really been exceptional over the last few years or so.
Fahim, what do you think are the essential elements as the event producer? What do you think are the essential ingredients of Carnival that everyone wishes to reproduce every year, from your perspective? Though?
From my perspective, I think the essential, and I've not only the Luton International Carnival, but I've been involved. I've visited carnivals obviously up and down the country, like Leeds, Notting Hill. I was involved in initiating the Hackney One Carnival in 1997. So for me, it's a kind of mixture. Obviously, the parade and being on the road is very, very important. But also, I think the sound systems are important. The route is very, very important, and any live entertainment. Traditionally, carnivals have had all those elements, including live stages, sound stages, routes that have gone through urban areas and areas where communities have been, or indeed town centres. Where people have reclaimed town centres, and obviously parks. The Leeds Carnival actually starts at Potnington Park and goes around the Chapeltown Hare Hills area and goes back to the park again.
Right.
And it's a wonderful route. It's a really, really good route. And the park is right in the heart of the community.
Leeds Carnival is quite a special carnival, I have to say, so I agree with you there. Did you attend Carnival this year, Fahim?
No, unfortunately, I didn't go to Carnival this year. You know, I had kind of other commitments, but I kind of like kept an interest. I keep an interest in the event. I saw the social media around the event. I've actually talked to people who were actually on the parade, involved in some of the groups this year. I take a keen interest, I was particularly surprised by the actual route when I found out what the actual route was.
Why was you surprised, Fahim? What surprised you about the route?
That was great. That was going through the town centre.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I thought it would go through the town centre. The last I heard, it was going to go from one park, Manor Park, to the Moor Park, which is kind of like out of the town centre and going towards Wardown and stopping at the Manor Park, which used to be one of our sites, for Carnival in previous years. Manor Park. Not Manor Park, the Moor Park, as we call it.
Right.
As well as obviously Wardown Park.
Fahim, why do you think that route was? Because we're all pleased that Carnival's back, but you seem to have got into at least a route was established, and it was quite a popular route. What was driving that change, do you think?
Well, it's really glad that the Carnival is back in the town centre and down George Street. I don't know if the vehicles, the sound trucks, came down George Street with the groups. I'm not aware. I don't know that. But then finishing just around the corner from George Street into Guildford Street, I thought that was quite short. It would have been great if it would have gone back to the park, a linear route, to Wardown Park, or even back to Moor Park. Well, for me, Moor Park is it's near the Carnival Centre, but it's kind of like out the way, really. It's great for the people in Parktown.
And as an organiser of, you mentioned the sound system and the live studio and the live bands. What's the town centre like as a kind of a venue for those sounds? Is there any reason why you shouldn't have sound system down the side streets or whatever?
Well, I mean, I grew up attending the Carnival, Luton International Carnival, in 1977-78, and there were sound systems in King Street, Upper George Street, all dotted around the side streets. That's always happened. And when I produced Carnival, I think we had a number of sound sites, certainly in excess of 5 sound sites,
right?
Including Crawley Road Car Park. There were I inherited sound sites on Upper George Street, the Starlight Club, and some of the where the current Lloyd's Bank is there as well, off George Street.
So there's no reason why, from what you're saying, that there is a tradition of having live music in George Street there. Can you tell us about how you balance as an organiser the kind of the needs and the wants of the participants, the spectators, but also the organisers?
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance. Obviously, you're driven by your audience. For me, the prime motivation of producing events is try and cater for audience needs. Because if audiences aren't going to attend, then why are you doing the event? For big, large outdoor events like Carnival, like the Mela, and whatever, you're trying to attract audiences. You're trying to attract thousands of people,
right?
And also you're informed. You seek feedback from your audience. You give the people what they want. You try and give them what they want.
Okay.
You try and do that safely within your resources available. And you try and cost it out. If there's a shortfall, you try and raise the difference. And it's so crucial for Luton to have free community events, free events of a high quality, because for families, for many families, it's the only arts and cultural entertainment that they'll get.
And who do you think the audience is for him? You mentioned the audience. I mean, traditionally, the carnival is a celebration of Caribbean culture. Is the audience the black community, or should we say that the audience is a variety of communities within Luton?
Yeah, well, for me, I think it's the audiences are the diverse communities, the diversity of communities that we have in Luton. But the way that Carnival developed, the Luton International Carnival has been driven by the Caribbean model of Carnival and kind of Caribbean culture, Carnival culture, sound culture, urban culture. And within that framework, we try and reflect other cultural traditions and other contemporary communities and their contemporary narratives. And the carnival, in terms of what's on the road, has become quite all-embracing and encompassing. There are kind of like I think there was even an Islamic or a Muslim carnival group, and there has been for a number of years, which is amazing to see. But we should also have, I personally believe we should also have the more risque groups as well.
Yeah, but you see, that's interesting because there has been some criticism that it has been tried to be a bit sanitised, so that some of the costumes should be a little bit more PG as opposed to the traditional thing. And is there not a danger that in trying to make it all things to all people, you kind of dislocate the carnival from its roots? Authenticity-wise, we could be, some distance from where we are or where we were.
I totally agree. I think carnival and the whole essence of carnival is risque. You push the boundaries and you question people's perception. And really, if people are offended by it, they'll kind of like, it's a free event. They'll move away. They'll go. But from my experience, we've had thousands of people that line the streets, that stick around, that look at the parade, that go to the sound site, that go to the live music sites, and it's that kind of eclectic mixture of family-friendly stuff that's geared towards young people, stuff that's geared towards carnival artists.
Fahim, can I just ask you a question? Why wasn't you involved because you said you wasn't involved in the organisation of Carnival this year. Was there a reason for that? I mean, have you stepped away from it, or you just wasn't?
Well, no one asked me really. If I'm asked, I'll come forward and get involved. But I am a kind of like a freelance producer.
Okay.
I get involved. I certainly get involved, like the Luton Mela I'm involved in.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that, Fahim. How would you compare and contrast the Mela in its setup, in its audience, in the way it reaches beyond the Asian community? How would you compare the two?
Yeah,
because the Mela this year has got 2 full days.
It's got 2 days, right?
2 full days in Moordown Park, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, over the last few years, Mela has been a 2-day event. The difference between Mela and the Carnival, apart from the obvious differences, the Luton Mela is entirely produced by volunteers, i.e. people who don't get paid for working year round on the event. There's no kind of paid producer or paid organizer throughout the year.
That's quite interesting. So you're saying that the main difference between Luton Carnival and the Mela is that the volunteers that volunteer for Mela aren't paid?
Not the main difference. I mean, in terms of organizational difference. Obviously, there's the content and the cultural content of the culture.
So I'm kind of thinking. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been living in Luton for 16 years, but I have been coming to Luton Carnival for over 30 years, and obviously it's changed dramatically in that 30 years. But I'm not aware. Has there ever been an appeal or a call for the community to volunteer for Luton Carnival?
I think with the UKCCA, when the UKCCA have taken the event, and rightly so, I think they have made call outs to groups. I mean, don't forget, on the parade itself, on the road, all those mass groups, those carnival mass groups, are on the whole volunteers. They're self-organised.
Yeah, I get that.
That's the nature. But in terms of everything else, you have full-time staff producing it, or you have freelance staff producing it, and they've worked hard to bring that investment in. That's where Luton Mela needs to go next. The Mela has grown since the council used to do it.
Clearly it has.
It has grown. It costs. It's still cheaper than what the council used to spend on the Mela. The Mela, I think, get about 40,000 budget from through various, mainly through the Luton Rising, and then they have to raise the difference. Whether it's another 40,000 or 30,000, because it costs a lot to put on in terms of not only paying professional and international performers, but getting infrastructure in, like staging, stewarding. There's policing costs.
Can I just ask for him about the money thing? To what extent do the funders, the sponsors, make any, dictate the terms or the route or the aspects of the carnival, or is it always on the terms of carnival?
No. I think I think the main people, the main agencies involved in the carnival and kind of like. The other agencies, the partner agencies, are the police, the health and safety elements of Luton Borough Council. They're the ones that kind of, steer the event or make recommendations on the route and the nature, to a certain extent, of the event.
But not the funders.
Pardon?
Not the funders.
Sorry, can I just make a very quick point, because the phone lines are literally blowing up, right? And we really do need people to call after 9 o'clock. If you have any questions that you want posed now, can you text us? We're not opening the phone lines until 9 o'clock, so we're missing a lot of calls, and we don't want to miss any calls. But equally, can you text us with any messages that you may have?
Full hour from 9 o'clock is just your phone messages.
Right, so from 9 till 10 o'clock, the phone lines will be open. But in the interim, in between, we can take messages and WhatsApps on 07908974543. So can we just...
I want to say that again, Fiona.
Sorry. 07908... 974-543. Please text us, WhatsApp us. Fahim, look, the phone lines are going crazy. Questions are coming in a very kind of succinct way. Wrap it up for us. What are your feelings?
Sorry, what am I what?
What are your feelings for
Looking
the future?
Forward. Yeah.
For the future, because I think we need to.
Well, for the future, right. For me. For the future, I think Carnival needs to have a route that goes. People love Wardown Park and know Wardown Park. Carnival needs to go from Wardown Park into the town centre, as much of the town centre as possible, and back to Wardown Park. So we have an extended route that takes in the town centre. Right. We have live music sites and live performance sites, and we have to have sound systems. We have to have sound systems that are produced by the Luton Sounds Forum.
Okay.
Right? The Luton Sounds Forum is an independent forum of sound system operators that have been running on many years.
Right.
And, all the town's sound systems are involved.
Do they still convene? Does the forum still convene? That's a really important point, I think. Do they still convene and have an employee?
The Sounds Forum used to convene for Carnival and then year round.
Right.
Once again, because I haven't been involved, I've lost touch. But some of those sound system sounds are involved in LUR.
Right.
And they run programs like Love Light and Carl and people like that.
Right.
Jimmy, Screechy. So they were the main drivers for Carnival, for the sound side. And they need to be brought. I know there's a whole debate on the budget for Carnival, but I think the powers that be and the agencies need to put the money where the mouth is, because Carnival is very, very important. And going forward, people, that's the only cultural and art and creative entertainment that people will get are the free events. Because with the cost of living crisis, still ain't going to be afforded to buy tickets.
Okay, thank you.
We need to keep these major events going and develop them.
Okay.
And what about a 2-day carnival?
Well, you know what? I think you need to perfect one day before you think. Sometimes, for me, it's quality and not quantity, right? Look, I didn't go to Carnival this year, and I'm trying to be really impartial. But from what I've heard and from what I've seen, I don't even think that we can consider 2 days at this point.
Right.
Right.
Let's get the 1 day right.
Let's get the 1 day right. Let's get back to and I'm going to keep saying it from now until 10 o'clock. Luton Carnival used to be the biggest carnival in the whole of Europe, biggest 1 day carnival, right?
That's right.
So that was its strength, and that was the beauty of it, and that's why it pulled in a lot of people from the local community and beyond, actually. So you've basically said from Wardon Park through the town back into Warden Park
with the sound systems,
and we appreciate that.
Fahim, just want to thank you so much for your contribution. Really appreciate you ringing in. Do listen in.
Thank you for that. I'll probably get into lots of trouble.
No. I mean,
agencies that.
No.
But I'm speaking my mind now.
No, we did say that the discussion this evening was going to be respectful and open.
And you've been really candid.
And you've been both.
Really measured. So really want to thank you.
So you haven't been rude or disrespectful to anyone.
No, not at all.
So there's no reason why you should feel that anyone's going to be upset. But thank you for
I love Carnival as a Lutonian and as an arts producer. I love Carnival, and long may it continue in Luton.
Right.
Amen.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Thank you,
Fahim.
Yeah.
We can be moving on
thank
now.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.
That's an interesting
That was a lot of information.
It was, yeah. Which we can unpack.
Which we can unpack. I wasn't aware that Fahim wasn't involved in Carnival this year, right? And I think it would have been maybe a bit too obtuse of me to ask him why. Yeah. But he clearly, he basically said he wasn't asked, and he basically has been involved in it for many years, but he wasn't asked. Fahim feels that Carnival should start in Warden Park, go through the town and end back in Warden Park. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that's the right route? Do you guys think that there should be more bands? Should the bands just be limited to Lutonians? Should Carnival have bands from all over the country or outside of the country? Should there be more sound systems? Or is that not part of Carnival anymore? We want your views. Text us, please. Or you can call us after 9 o'clock. But I suspect after 9 o'clock, it's going to be a fight for people to actually...
Yeah, that's great.
Which is good.
Now, and I'll be reading out your text.
Yeah. We've got two guests in the studio who are going to come and introduce themselves. I know we've got Anne and we've got Ian who actually participated, which is great. So we've had an ex-organiser of Luton Carnival. And now we've got two participants from Luton Carnival 2022.
So kids in the house?
So they're going to introduce
neighbours and friends.
Okay.
But I'm part of the group as a friends.
Okay.
But
so you participated in Carnival this year?
This year, and I started quite a few years ago.
Okay, so you're a seasoned...
Not necessarily, but
you're a seasoned Luton Carnival participator and contributor. Right, I'm going to be very honest.
Yeah.
Because this, as I keep saying, this is a very honest and open but respectful conversation this evening. How was Luton Carnival this year?
It was a bit small for me. It was a bit quick.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have a chat with you, Donai, and then we said that, to put together the costumes, it takes months.
Right.
as we speak, they're probably starting to think about next year. Carnival.
That's right.
So it takes years, months and months and months, and then to just have it for just a short time.
How long was the procession? How long was it? How long was the procession?
I think it's probably about 20 minutes.
About
20 minutes.
20
Yeah.
minutes.
So
And it's months
okay.
of
So
our
we've
Bearing in mind, to get ready in the morning, it was probably taking the guys about 2 hours.
so we've got 2 participants here who took part in the carnival, and you're telling me that the procession took 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
approximately that.
All right. How did that make you feel?
Well, I was just getting warmed up, and I thought, oh, the music started, got warm up, and then it was finished.
So after the 20 minutes, did you have the opportunity to go back again? Was it a circle or no?
No.
Once we got round to the town centre,
Yeah.
to I think it was the Thistle Hotel, and basically one of the stewards came up to us and said, right, cut the music. And
So that was it?
Yeah, we just sort of said, what do you mean cut the music? Or are we not going round again?
Right.
And it was like, no, it stops.
Okay. Were there a lot of bands on the road?
Yeah, people, because we were one of the first ones, weren't we, coming?
Yeah, I'm not sure because we were up front.
Okay, so it's
and
difficult.
dancing and leading
Yeah,
it
yeah.
and getting things together because we had a few children in the band as well.
Yeah.
And I think, I know I get really intense about things, but I am very up for like your history and your culture
Right.
and all
Well,
this
that's
sort
what
of thing.
carnival's all about, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
And what motivated me, myself, I can't talk on behalf of the group, but for myself, I have a daughter and I wanted her to know her history. I grew up in a history of carnival,
As I did,
dance and
yeah, yeah.
celebration, and I want our children to know about that so it could go on and on and on. And it can't go on and on and on if it's not emphasised and celebrated,
Right.
things like that within the community. And for 20 minutes, I think that was really too short. And then, of course, historically, sorry, I did tell you I go on.
No, we need this. We need this.
But then again, historically, you have carnival, you have the dancing, you have the children's competition, you might have a steel pan competition. I don't know too much about the history of carnival in Luton in terms of that, but I know that carnival is made up of different components.
That's right.
And part of it is the dancing and the masquerade and
Right.
things like that. Part of it is the music and the steel pan and things like that. And part of it is the children learning about the dress and the dance and things like that because it reflects our history. It goes all the way back to slavery.
That's right. And, you know, I was saying to my husband earlier, the beauty and the uniqueness of carnival in the UK is you have that traditional element of the procession and the steel pan and the costume, but the uniqueness of carnival in the UK is the sound system element as well.
Oh, yes, the music.
Right?
And the,
Which I know sometimes when people come from different countries, they're like, wow, why are there these sound systems everywhere? But that is like so inherent to you, so there was none of that either.
I forgot to be honest, from my point of view, it didn't. From my point of view, it didn't feel like sort of carnival. It felt like more of a fete. You know, like you know.
Yes.
You go to some little fete in a village. You know, like you have a few little trucks and bands coming through. It's sort of a lot. When I was walking through and we were playing the music, it was like people are like, oh, we're here, carnival's back, we were vibing.
Right.
But then you got 20 minutes, and I felt bad for these guys who'd done all their costumes.
Right.
To know what went into it.
Yeah.
You know, and I was trying to work out, you know, why have they stopped it? What was the reasoning behind it, the rationale behind
Right.
it? You know, and I'm trying to even now I can't fathom why it was sort of so short and why it was sort of stopped so abruptly as well.
Right.
Was it a cost issue? Is there no funding for it? I just, you know, there's no explanation.
Well,
for
hopefully we're going to get answers to some of those questions, hopefully this evening. But I think that's really interesting what you've just said, because, you know, I was saying earlier, and I think we all know the stats, right? Luton Carnival was the biggest one-day carnival in Europe, and you're saying it felt like a village fete.
Yeah.
That's a big statement. It's a respectful statement, and you're not being rude. But that's how you personally felt.
You know, I remember coming up when I lived in London. And
Right.
It was an experience coming to Luton Carnivals back in the day.
Exactly the same.
You know, and like to see what I saw a couple of weeks ago, I was like just dismayed.
And like carnival is a celebration, and children look forward to it, adults look forward to it, everybody. And you start early in the morning.
Right.
And like you say, we start getting dressed at about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And the makeup and the gems and things like that to really celebrate. And then after, it was like an anticlimax really, because after the parade and everything, usually you have that's when you have the music.
Right.
You have the food.
Yes.
And the thing, and that's why the park was so relevant, because you could go to stalls and buy food. You could go to stalls and buy materials, the things, and there was nothing.
Because
like
I
that.
wasn't there, so that's why I'm asking a lot of
Yes.
questions. So obviously, the carnival did not go through Walden Park this year.
No.
So it finished in St George's Square.
Yes, that's right.
Were there stalls in St George's Square, or what was?
It was the judges, wasn't it? They had like a set of people and the press and things like that.
Okay.
Somebody said they got food from a food stall, but I didn't see one.
You didn't
I didn't
see
any of it.
Okay.
Because, you know, and I really missed that because of the
Right.
smells and the sounds and everything. And without anybody having a history of it, they won't understand.
Yes.
The little bit of or the touch of disappointment.
Right.
Because, like again, apart from the music and the sounds and the dancing, it's also about the food and getting
Yes.
together and the competition and the comparison and things like that. And
Right.
that element
Was
wasn't
missing.
so much there this year
Okay.
at all.
Will you, if you get the opportunity, will you do Luton Carnival next year?
You mean participate?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I like participating in Carnival. It's a bit of a selfish reason because it's so liberating to be able to dance in the streets,
Yes.
get dressed up and so on. And I, like I said before, I brought my daughter up because it's really important to me for the children to see the roots, because behind the Carnival as well, one thing I didn't mention is the outreach.
Yes.
Is going to the schools and the children understanding Carnival and making things and so on. So for that reason, I'll have a little think about it, but for that reason, I'd wanted for it to continue.
Right.
But I'm hoping that in the future, let's put it down, hopefully, that they say, well, all right, this is the first one since COVID, and let's get vibrant again for the following years.
Okay.
We need to do more for the carnival, because if not, it will die. You know,
Yeah.
You know, there needs to be more input. You know, whether it's businesses, you know, whether it's the local community, there needs to be a coming together to make this carnival great again. Because
Right.
if not, you're going to lose it.
I've just had a text that's come in. I couldn't stand for long, so my view of the carnival was disappointing. I missed seeing the Brazilian parade. I'd like to comment on the lack of marketing, lack of things for families to actually do, lack of vendors, the awful setup in St George's Square, and the lack of judging, etc. Like I said, these are people's honest opinions. We're keeping it very respectful, but you know, if that's how people feel, then I think because the carnival belongs to we, I think we, as a collective, are able to comment on it.
Yeah, yeah. And that you said a very interesting thing in the text. Was it a text?
Yes.
About the lack of publicity. Because
Right.
there was usually they have like pictures up or adverts up.
Yeah.
The carnival is coming, and up until the morning of the carnival, we were telling people that the carnival is now in town. It's not in
Right, Walden
in
Park.
Walden
Yeah,
anymore
yeah.
or anything like that. So
Right.
people weren't looking. So really, it could have been sold a little bit more.
Okay.
It felt a little bit rushed. You know.
Do you think, right, because I'm playing devil's advocate for both sides here, or at least I'm trying to, do you think COVID had anything to do with the changes? Because obviously there's been some major changes in Carnival this year. Do you think COVID has anything to do with that?
It could have. It may be.
Right.
You know, in terms of encouraging people to come out, because again the crowds were smaller.
Right.
But people might need to be brave again in order to come out because they got a lot of frightened people.
Right.
Additionally, during COVID there was called what do you call it? A carnival that was you could see on the internet.
A virtual carnival,
yes. And that was done really well and tastefully. But it's a hard one. But if we put it down to that, then maybe we can try and get people to be encouraged to think about next year.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about crowd numbers so much, right? I'm talking about the changes in the route and how Carnival was presented and how it looked this year. Do you think COVID maybe had something to do with that?
It could have had an impact.
Okay, right. We're gonna. I don't want you guys to go away because we're here until 10 o'clock, and please stay with us as long as you can. Up next, we have Clary from the UK Centre of Carnival Arts, who I believe were the main organisers of Carnival. But if I've got that wrong, then I'm sure Clary's going to tell us. There's a lot of background noise.
Carnival was presented and how it looked this year.
Turn the radio down.
Clary, can you turn your radio down, please, because you're echoing. Turn the radio right down, please.
I'm going to have to do that. It's one line. I might just go somewhere else.
Yeah, hi, that's better. Hi, Clary. Thank you for thank you for calling in. So please introduce yourself to our listeners.
When do I do that?
Now, you're live on air.
Okay.
So if you could introduce yourself.
I'm going to have to do it tomorrow.
Hello? Clary, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear. We can hear you. If you could introduce.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, hi. If you could introduce your input and your role in Luton Carnival, so we all know who we're talking to.
My name is Clara Solani, and I'm an associate artistic director for the Carnival Parade.
Okay. So are you the main organizer for Luton Carnival?
I am an organizer of the parade. Yeah.
Okay. So
am I right in saying that it is that the council have delegated, Clary, this is Paul here, the organisation of the carnival and of the parade is and everything around it is just the carnival arts, or is that does the council have a say in the parade, the marketing, and all the things, the stalls and the sound systems that are around the carnival? Who's got those responsibilities?
Well, the UK Centre, we do have responsibility for the overall event, but we are still beholden to other agencies that are part of how you run events within the town. And we also beholden to the amount of funding that we have to make them events come live and to keep our audience safe. So you're never running an event in the town on your own. It is always a collaboration between your security and everything. Although you may be responsible overall, you still have to work within the parameters of your stewarding and your health and safety and all the other things that affect why an event takes place in the way that it does. Safety being paramount, as well as loving the event. We want everybody to have a really good time in a space where we have rules that we have to adhere to.
Okay, so how did you find Luton Carnival this year, Clary?
Well, for me, it was exciting after 2 years to not have carnival at all.
Right.
To be able to come back and to give the town a carnival and an event. It was never going to be possible to give the town the carnival that it has always had in the years. So that is just not possible. Coming out of COVID, coming back and rejuvenating our clubs, re-engaging with the communities where we couldn't have over 2 years, getting our funding back, working our way back. And so this carnival was saying, hey guys, we're back, and we're walking our road back through COVID, coming back so we can bring life back into the town as well. Start doing things the way we did it before. Wasn't possible this year, but it doesn't mean that it isn't our ambition to have Luton as it always has been. So that's, of course, what we would like it to be. So when we're coming back, we had a family-friendly focused event. It's very specific that we wanted it to be family-friendly, very inclusive of all the different communities, and that really was our focus.
Okay, and were you working under any constraints this year? Why wasn't it possible? Was it a funding issue or other things why it couldn't be in the park as it normally is?
Yeah, of course there were funding issues. Every road that's closed from any junction through the park is a cost.
Right.
And it's a very big cost. And every road that you close has a knock-on implication, because then you have the security, because the footprint. So the bigger the footprint, the bigger the cost, not just because of the road closure, but because you have to do the security that has to steward and man that whole thing. And you have to, and this year, we chose to experiment. We wanted to come back into the town. We wanted to try a slightly different route. Let's see how it works. It fits within our budget. Start in the town. Start small so we can build back up better to where we were before. So we couldn't do everything in the town.
Did you feel that
the whole sound system issue? For years, we have been approaching the Luton Sound Forum. We got them to apply for funding. We were looking for ways in which we can make the music an independent and part of the carnival, because we have to fund things in different ways. And some of that didn't quite materialize. We did speak to the Sound Forum about how possible it was, and it just wasn't possible in the town centre within the time frame that we had to be able to make some of that materialize. But it doesn't mean that it isn't something that we would like to see happen. We think music is a very, very important part of Carnival, and we would like to see that develop.
We have two participants here who took part in the Carnival a few weeks ago, and they said, I think their biggest disappointment was the procession was, for them, it lasted, 20 minutes? Have you had any feedback about the length of the procession? I don't know the correct wording for it.
Well, we started at 1 and finished after 4 o'clock in town centre.
Okay.
So I don't understand where the 20 minutes comes from. And it would be good to hear from other people what they thought about the length of the parade and the way that, it's a new route that we are trying to explore, but we do want to be in the town centre.
Right.
That was key for us. How we got there was how we were experimenting. Would this be a good route? How can we develop it? If we started from this park instead, could we have gone all the way to Mortem Park at the end? So there is potential for development, and this was a way to explore how we can use the town centre and approach it in different ways. So next year might be a different experiment, but really we want Carnival to be in the town centre. So for the past few years, 2019, when there was no Carnival, before that, 2019, 2018, we weren't in the town centre. We were just going around Mortem Park.
Right.
And that had its own vibe. But this year, we wanted to be in the town centre because we feel that is at the heart of Luton, and we want that to happen.
Do you think so?
Making the two work financially is our challenge. So right now, our focus is the town centre, and how can we make the town centre work? And we've looked at the closest park to see how we could recreate a sense of what we could get in Woodland Park, but just to start off as a small thing. And that didn't quite work out the way we wanted because our fairground cancelled on the day. He just didn't turn up. He was supposed to be there, and that was very disappointing because that was part of how we were trying to recreate that lovely feel of coming to Carnival and going to the fun fair. There were food stalls up selling good Caribbean food like they normally do in different types of food. That was there. People enjoyed that, and those stalls did very, very well. There's entertainment in the square. We had, because we wanted a family focus, we want families to start coming back into the town, saying families that want to come to Carnival, bring the kids, bring the grands, bring the whole family. We had entertainment dinosaurs for kids in the town centre. We couldn't have a stage. We created an arena.
Sorry, Clary. Can I just stop you there? You're saying that you didn't have a stage. There was no stage.
No, we didn't have a stage.
Okay.
We worked in a different way. And again, many challenges. When you have a stage, you have to put it up the day before. There's security, take it down the day. It's all about how much funding you have to actually make something come to life. And because when we did it in 2019, the costs were one thing. When we do it now, the costs are very, very different. For the security, for everything is very, very different. So, the budgets are changing like crazy. And our priority is making sure that the community who are involved they make their costumes. Before Anne was talking about all the people getting involved. We had school involved, Chancery Primary School were amazing, did an amazing project, a big educational project, Refugee Boy. We had scandalous children, amazing. We bring children from outside of London as well, so outside of Luton, so we can make sure that there's an exchange, a national remit. We bring in good costumes and things from outside.
So, Chloe, are you saying that the town centre as a venue for carnival is here to stay? There will be no plans to return to Wardown Park at all?
I can't say that there are no plans to return to Wardown Park at all. We have only just finished Carnival, and there will be lots of discussions about, just like we're having this discussion, about the route as it is now. Is there a better way of using it? The issue in the end will be the funding. Is there funding to allow Carnival to start in Wardown Park or to use Wardown Park and still do the town centre?
Because
that is something that I can't answer.
Because we're just trying to put a finger on it, you see, because if it was a funding issue, and what you're telling us about, you see, you're enlightening us really, because we don't know these costs, and you're telling us about that. But do you think that you are limited by your funding, the degree of the funding you have? Because we're a little bit puzzled, because the Mela this year has got 2 full days in Wardown Park, and we just wonder why there's a disparity between the funding for one community event and the funding for another.
I don't think the Mela closes a whole lot of roads on the way. They're in the park. Road closures and stewarding have different costs, so there are different issues when you are using the public street, different health and safety issues that have different costs attached to it. I'm not part of the absolute production team with all the figures and everything, so I won't give you all the figures, but those are health and safety issues, the road closures, the stewarding of the different sites. Those are very, very high costs. I'm sure the Mela don't share the same kinds of costs the way that we do. When we had the carnival that was just around the outside of Wardown Park, we still had, because we had to close Stockingstone Road, you had to close all those roads, and then they had to reopen. There's a lot in terms of the organising and the stewarding of the route to enable a safe journey, safe parade, safe for the audience, safe for families, and safety is really paramount. The art is amazing, and I can't tell you how hard people worked for Carnival this year, considering that there was no Carnival for 2 years, maintaining the momentum, re-energizing people to be creative again. It was so exciting to see new groups coming in. So we had Toko coming in and joining in. We had the school, Chantry Punch, I mentioned them before, and then our local groups from the Luton Association of Mass were in there working the whole time, St. Kitts, Nevis and Friends.
Can I ask you, what feedback have you had in general? What's been the general feedback that you've had from Luton Carnival for 2022?
Well, from the people who have participated in the carnival, St. Joseph's Primary School and the schools have been really thankful that we won, that we did have the carnival, that we were able to include them in the carnival. Right. The groups have been, we have the VIPs, which is a visually impaired group.
What about the general public? Have you had feedback from the people that attended carnival?
Well, from the general public, we have been hearing positive things. So people are happy that there was a carnival, considering that there was no carnival at all. So, of course, there are people who thought, and that's your previous guest, that it was a bit short, it was a bit quick. But that depends on where you were on the route. So if you were in the town centre, where the parade started at 1, by the time it got to the town centre at 2, and continued for another 2 hours until 4:30, 5 o'clock, there was still activity going on in the town centre.
Okay, so you're basically saying that
I don't understand why they got 20 minutes
from your perspective,
and they were able to perform for a longer time in the town centre.
From your perspective, the feedback that you had for Carnival for 2022 has been positive. Is that what you're saying?
Generally, we are having positive feedback. Like I said, there are people who felt that it was short. There are things that could have been improved. This is the first time we did the route that way. It rained at the start, so there were issues that we had to deal with the weather. and this is the first time we're trying coming down the hill that way and using the town centre in that way. So there are things that we could improve on when we look at how we do it next year. There will be that, but there are positive and just like that, there are also negative. But we have had a lot of positive feedback for people being very grateful. One, that there is that, that we still have that carnival in the town centre, well attended, people, families loving it, with entertainment for the families. The dinosaurs will love the slope walkers in the town centre.
Okay.
Just before we go to the phones,
coming through. So,
yeah,
and a lot of young people. We made it a young people's carnival.
Yeah. Just before we go to the phones, Clary, could I just ask, how do you involve the community in the kind of decision making about all these elements of, that makes carnival, like where it is, where the stalls are, what about the sound system, whatever? How do you make sure you stay in touch with the carnival roots rather than just being, having to make decisions just by yourself?
We have a Luton Association of Maths, which is a community organisation where most of the groups that participate in the parade are represented there. And we have discussions with them when we're deciding what the route is. We speak to them. So there are about 9 to 10 groups all representing. So we have Asian groups, the Muslim groups, the VIPs, the Caribbean groups, the OM. So on that Luton Association Mass, we have all the voices, the steel bands there. So the Stance Forum used to be a part of that organisation, but they have gone a little bit quiet over the last 2 years when there's been no carnival. And just before, they were not really inside of that group like they would have been in the past. But that is our vehicle for getting the community voice within Carnival.
And the Masters Association were in favour of the decisions that shaped Carnival this year. Would that be true?
Yes, because we don't go forward. If they don't approve, we don't just go forward and just ignore their opinion. We canvass their opinion. We speak. We're part of one community. So together we discuss what the situation is, and their voice is what helps us to drive the decision.
We're getting quite
on what the final route would be.
We're getting quite a few texts in. A few people have said they didn't even know that Carnival was taking place this year. So the marketing for them just wasn't.
I can understand that because because the date was changed. We can understand that really was something that we would need to look at, because the marketing did go out much later than we had hoped it would. So we can understand that people would have seen that. But yeah, but a lot of other people did know. There was a bit of so we didn't reach everybody because there was stuff on telly. We did stuff on the telly. There was a lot of social media around it before. There was articles in the newspaper, things going on online. So what we couldn't afford to do, was big banners hanging in the town centre.
I think now, because buses, we're in this age of social media. I think I personally, and I said I wasn't going to make any personal comments, but the social media presence wasn't very strong, and I think that's when people talk about marketing now, they're not necessarily talking about banners and adverts in newspapers. It's more social media. Another question that has come in is, I'm really, really passionate about Luton Carnival. How do I get involved? This used to be the largest carnival in Europe. What I experienced a few weeks ago was totally unrecognisable. I understand about the pandemic, but ... So how do people get involved in Luton? If people want to get involved, if people want to have a say, if they want to contribute, and I'm asking that question as well as a local radio station.
I think that's amazing. I'm really happy to hear that. And the way to get involved is to get on that website and get in touch and send a message.
Tell us the website, Clary.
There was on the website, if you wanted to get involved, you could contact us. And so lots of people contact us to get involved.
Yeah, but I think the point...
Contact us so that you can get involved.
The point is that people don't know what the website is. And I think that goes...
I'll give it to you. www.carnivalarts.org.uk. And if you just Google Luton Carnival, information will come up that will direct you to the website where you can come and get involved. We love and need a lot of volunteers. We need artists, dancers, performers, and we're very open to, and it doesn't matter what community you're from. This year we had the Afghanistani refugee communities as a band. We had the Ukrainian community represented,
which is
in
great.
Carnival.
Which is
we're
great
here for everybody.
So are you, because, you know, and this is not a criticism, this is just a general question, a respectful question. Is your vision to open up Luton Carnival to more diverse communities outside of the Caribbean community? Is that your vision for future carnivals?
Well,
So,
when I came to Luton, there was Luton Carnival was not a Caribbean thing only. They were always, the own group has been participating in Carnival for years. Around the table, we had the Polish groups. So when I came to Luton, I saw Luton as a mirror of its communities.
Yeah.
And that the Carnival is representative of the people of Luton.
Yeah.
And that does not remove its Carnival roots, it doesn't remove its Carnival flavour, because that is still a very big, huge chunk of it.
So, because
Luton is a place that is welcoming.
Yes, it's a very diverse community.
For its people, then then the Carnival does need to be inclusive of the people who live in the town, I think. Don't you think?
No. Well, I'm playing devil's advocate here because, you know, we had a participant on the call on the show earlier who talked about the history of Carnival, which obviously started in the West Indies, which is a very important element of Carnival. Not removing other communities from it. So we're opening it up to other communities, also with the distinct removal of the sound system element. So really and truly, what you're saying is the complexion of Carnival changing?
I don't think that I think you need to go and read a bit about the history of Luton Carnival. Because Luton has Carnival has been going on for so many years.
Yeah, I know. I used to go to it in the 90s, Clary.
So some of that is not accurate.
Okay.
The statement isn't accurate.
What isn't accurate? Sorry.
It isn't accurate to say that Carnival only started in the Caribbean. There are carnivals all over the world. And it's also not accurate to imply that other communities were not a part of.
No, I didn't.
Luton
But I didn't say that.
I have a lady who's in her 80s who's been involved in Luton. She was the queen of Luton Carnival when she was a child. You know, the Luton Carnival has always been an inclusive event of different communities. The Caribbean community has come and met the carnival here and joined in with that carnival. That is my understanding of the heritage of Luton Carnival.
If I go to St Patrick's Day parade, I expect to get the best of Irish culture, and I will revel in that, and that's the reason that I will go. If I go to the Mela, it's because I love Asian music, I love Bhangra, I love the authentic sound of South Asian music, and that's what I expect to hear. I wouldn't necessarily expect to hear other communities. I might feel there's been a little bit, dare I say, diluted if I was to get anything other than the authentic South Asian sound. I can't, I can imagine why some people feel a little bit left behind if it's Carnival that is the one which is being opened out, which is great on one sense,
right,
but it can't be dislocated from its historical roots.
But it's not being dislocated from its historical roots. Still at the heart of it, you have Rampage, St. Kitts. Most of the groups that participate in the Carnival are Caribbean groups with a Caribbean root. But it isn't the only thing in the Carnival.
Okay.
When I arrived and joined Luton Carnival, I found an event that was already diverse. I have continued with what I found. I did not find a group of people sitting around a table that didn't include other. That's what I found when I came to Luton. So I don't understand some of what I'm hearing, because even the Irish community used to be in Luton Carnival, and they were represented. So I found an event that was completely diverse and welcoming of all its communities.
Okay.
That event, it doesn't mean that there isn't sound systems. There's a reason why there isn't sound systems, which is a financial one.
Right.
But there isn't any reason why, from where I sat when I came, I found an event. I didn't create Luton Carnival.
No, and
when
I
went through
don't
the
think.
history, I saw that before
as
the
we
Caribbean
said,
community were involved in Luton Carnival, there's a point in history where the pans were first on the road, and I have looked at that and have tried to be open and fair to all the communities of Luton.
As we said,
that Luton Carnival has
Clary,
a very
sorry.
big Caribbean flavour,
Clary,
but it isn't only for the Caribbean, for everyone.
Clary, as we said at the very beginning of this show, and this is the reason why we're attempting to do a post-mortem of Luton Carnival. Feelings are extremely high on both sides, okay? You clearly have your opinion. Other people have their opinions. But we did say at the beginning of the show it was going to be an honest, open and respectful conversation. And I think for all the dedication shows that we have done, the phones are literally going crazy. So we thank you for your time this evening. We probably are going to have to do this again. And thank you. Yeah? Thank you very much for your contribution this evening. Yeah?
You're so welcome.
Okay.
And I want everybody to be a part of Carnival.
All right. Good evening. Okay. I think we're going to have a little break, have a little tune, read out a few of the texts that have come in, and there's been quite a few. I know a lot of you, because we did promise that the phone lines were going to open at 9 o'clock, and we've kind of gone 20 minutes over that allotted time. But I think people have got strong opinions about this, right? If you have any particular respectful opinions on Luton Carnival, please give us a text, WhatsApp, or call us on 07908 974 543. We're going to read out some text a little bit later on. Going to take a breather. Okay, I think we actually needed 4 hours for this show. We have another live caller on the line. Please introduce yourself. Oh, they've gone. We got a live caller on the line?
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear us? Hello, live caller, can you hear us? If you can't...
Hello?
Oh, hi. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Darrell.
Mm-hmm.
And we are the Sickle Cell and Thalassemia Care Forum.
Yeah.
And we have a band in the carnival.
Yeah.
And...
What was your experience this year, Darrell?
Like we say, that it was a bit short.
Okay, because we were just told by one of the organisers that that's an unfair criticism, but in you're a participator, and you're saying that from your experience it was too short.
How long do you think, Darrell, you were on the road in terms of dancing and moving forward? How long?
Okay, if you look at the entire route, it was probably over an hour.
Right.
But it depends on where you are in the group. So if you're at the very beginning, then I guess for you it would be shorter than people that were at the back.
Okay.
Right.
So there's that, because we had over 20 something bands in the parade. So therefore it just depends on where you are in the route.
Okay, we're keeping it very respectful and open. That's what this show is about this evening. How did you find Luton Carnival this year?
It was different.
In what way?
Obviously, it's a new route. We haven't done this route before, so it was new.
Yeah.
It was nice because we've had COVID for the past 2 years, so obviously we had like virtual carnival, which is not the same.
Right.
And so therefore it was nice to be out. It was also letting, I guess, our community know that we're back, or we're coming back, and that they should come out and join us, and that we're here.
Yes. We'd all agree it's great, and I'm sure as a participant it was thrilling. And I remember seeing your float for many years. You participate every year, don't you, Darrell?
Yeah, yes, we do.
So it
We've
must be
been
great
in the
to
carnival over 15 years now.
Yeah. Well, it must be great to be back again.
It is indeed. Virtual carnival just doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
Right, and how would you compare the kind of the not only the kind of the route, but the stalls and the music we had this year compared with what we've enjoyed in recent years pre-COVID?
To tell you the truth, I didn't go to the park. I didn't see the stalls, so I'm not quite sure how that went. So I wouldn't want to,
Sorry. Can I stop you?
Judgments in an area that I wasn't a part of.
Can I stop you there? So are you saying that the stalls were in the park?
I believe that they were in Waldown Park. I'm not sure, but I think they were.
No. I think they were in St George's Square, Darrell.
Were they?
Okay.
Are there any stalls? That's where they were.
Okay.
Were there?
And yeah,
I didn't see them.
fair play to.
And the reason why I didn't see them was because I was actually involved with my band, making sure that my band was okay. So I didn't stop to look up where anything else was.
Okay. So overall, what were your thoughts? You had a great day. You're taking into account that the route had changed. What are your overall thoughts of the carnival this year?
Yeah, it was a great day. The route has been changed. It was nice to see people come out because I think since COVID, you still have a lot of people who are cautious about coming out. So it was nice to see as many people as we saw.
Yes.
And I believe that because of COVID, not knowing how the community would respond, I believe there was a lot of cautious activities on everybody's part because people were not sure.
Okay.
So I think that kind of had a bearing on how things went.
If you had a vote, Darrell, would you go in? Would you keep it in the town centre or go back to the park?
I think the town centre makes it easier for everyone to come, and especially what we had in St. George's Square. That's where the majority of people were congregated, and that was really nice. We had a spot there where bands would come up and do a little a dance and show the costumes and actually stand and let people see them rather than walking the route. So that was nice. People had routines and we had an MC that was able to put description to costumes and give voice to different groups. So that was really, really nice. And I think that really had a good effect.
That's great. Well, you're speaking very positively as a participant. What are the things that you would, even better if, what next year would you kind of say they can build on this to make it even better?
I think some of the things that were discussed earlier, like the publicity, needs to be looked at and reviewed and possibly changed in some way, shape or form. I think this carnival this year, because we begin the carnival season, has shown communities far and wide that the carnival is not doable, it's back on the road. So we're hoping that there will be other community groups who would want to join, who maybe didn't join in the past, wasn't quite sure how things would be, but I think they showed them that yes, it's doable. So hopefully we'll have more bands, more community, more schools joining.
Yeah, we hope
and probably have a bigger parade.
This will keep the ball rolling. Thank you very much, Darrell. We appreciate your comments and thank you for calling Luton Urban Radio. Okay.
Thank you, Darrell. We have another live call. Sorry if I'm rushing through. We've got 35 minutes left. They're going to be joining us very shortly. Who have we got on the line, please? Hello? Hello? Okay. Let's keep talking, Paul.
Okay. So that was a positive experience.
That was a positive experience of Luton Urban
But we
Luton
might have got
Carnival.
Sandra back. Hi, Sandra.
No, it's not coming through.
Are you with us?
Yeah, so we did say that we want to hear from people that enjoyed Carnival.
That's right, and we've had that. And
We've had that.
I think what we agreed on is the fact that it was great to be back.
Right.
And it was great to, but clearly what they were doing was that they changed the date.
Right.
And in changing the date, it was around the Jubilee weekend.
Right.
And so I guess that's the reason they did that, to kind of put all the best of Luton,
the onus
around,
on
around that there.
Okay.
Now, it's a bit of a shame then, because people get into a rhythm, don't they? You kind of think you know when Carnival's going to be.
Right.
And if it goes outside of that, then it kind of confuses people in the date and everything else. So I think we all agreed it was good to be back. It's just interesting that the Carnival Arts Centre feel that it's in the town centre to stay. That came.
Yeah, well, I kind of got that impression that that is the future of Carnival now.
But I perhaps then, if you were to have those other elements involved, then maybe we would agree.
So other elements, as in sound systems.
Yeah, stalls, food.
A finale with live acts. Okay, all right. We've got a live caller on the line. Please introduce yourself. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. You're going to have to speak up for us. Hello.
Hi, Sandra.
Hello. You talking to me?
Yes, we're talking to you. You're live on air.
Oh, hi. It's very faint, though, I'm afraid.
No, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, right. It's very faint on my... I can't hear you very well.
Oh,
okay,
dear.
well, what have you got to say? Because we can hear you, Sandra, so let's do our
keep
best.
Talking.
Yeah. Your points,
Hi,
please.
Good evening, LUTON Urban Radio and everybody.
Hi. Hi.
It has been a bit heated, but I can understand why, because
I don't think it's been heated at all. I don't think it's been heated. I mean, everyone's putting their points across, and everyone's got different opinions, right?
Well, what's your point, Sandra? What points would you like to make to us?
I'm unable to hear absolutely anything. It's very, very low.
Okay, we're going to have to call you back. If you can't hear us,
Well,
then
we can hear you, Sandra. So just carry on talking, and we're fine.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We'll call you back, yeah, because we've got quite a few calls that want to come in because we can't hear you.
Sorry, Fiona. That's Fiona. I can't hear you at all.
Okay, we're going to keep going.
You want me to?
Okay. Live technology. I think we've got another live caller, Paul.
Right. Who have we got?
Sorry, who's calling?
Good evening.
Good evening. Please introduce yourself.
Sherlock from LUTON.
Ah.
Good evening, listeners.
Daddy Sherlock. How you
Good evening,
doing?
Lady Empress.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've been sitting here listening to this debate, and before I say anything, I will try to let the two of you get a word in edgeways. How about that for a start?
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, keep going.
Everyone's got a lot to say.
Right.
Right, where would you like to start?
Right, well, maybe you're interested in your general views, but...
Right, I'm going to ask you a question, Charlotte. Did you go to Carnival this year?
Yep.
Oh, you did? Okay, go for it.
And before I tell you, I understand the financial constraints and the organisational things that go behind it.
Right.
But it broke my heart.
Wow.
Okay.
Right? So that's the first thing I'll say. And the performers, it's been said already, and I'm going to say it again, the people that actually participate in Carnival, people have no idea the amount of hours and sacrifice they make of their personal time. So for me, I understand, I heard what Chloe had to say, but to put all that effort in, and I think the argument about the 20 minutes is if you were standing static, it probably was 20 minutes. And this is the thing, Carnival, it just moved too fast for a start. Yeah?
Right.
Yep, different route, I understand. Talking about the town centre, by the way, my memories of Carnival as a kid was town centre.
Okay.
It grew out to Woodham Park, yeah? So it was always centred in town to begin with. I'm not sure why we turned up by the brewery tap and went round by the casino and come back round there, because I just couldn't see why that is part of a Carnival route. That's me personally. Yeah?
Yeah.
It was very short. I do understand about all the health and safety stuff, but for me, I tell you what was a shock for me.
Right.
It's the first time in Luton Carnival for years and years, I mean, over a decade, where I've seen parade with no barriers, yeah?
There were no barriers?
No. Yeah?
What, between the pavement and the street, yeah?
Between the performers.
Right.
And the public, yeah? Now, I've come from a situation, I was one of the founders of Luton Sounds Forum,
right.
LSF, yeah? So, I used to be deeply involved in Carnival.
Right.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time with Fahim, and with colleagues of Clary now, previous predecessors.
Right.
And I've seen the demise of Carnival coming from before we got to this. I can't believe this is what we got to, actually, though, having said that.
Right.
I'm going to say something controversial. People of Luton, you have a part to play in this through your complacency. Yeah? Because when we was involved in Carnival and going to meetings left, right and centre, yeah, coming out of work and cutting all this time, yeah, at your personal life and going into fight, I think we ended up with a sound system that started off at Yates, because the parade started off at the Carnival Arts Centre. So it started off at Yatesy. I think we had Sounds Forum had a stage in the sort of little amphitheatre outside where Debenhams used to be. Yeah?
Yeah.
We had sound system on Chapel Street. We had a sound system by Don Miller's. We had a sound, I think, at the bottom of King Street. St George's Square, which had been barren for years, Scooby built that back up over a period of about 3-4 years into a really viable spot.
Right.
We used to have a sound outside, I think at one point outside Moore Park and then Wardown Park. Yeah? Now, you can't go from where we was before COVID back to that in one step. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point.
But I actually think I don't know where the engagement with the public has been for years before COVID, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I've probably been out of Luton Sounds Forum for about maybe 7 years now. Yeah, and I came out about the time when they cut out the town centre and moved it all to the park. Yeah, because that was the future vision. And now we're going back to where we was in the first place, which makes me laugh. Yeah, I look back at all the money that was spent with people. I think it was Capita, all these external people they used to get in for health and safety assessments over the whole of Carnival. All this money we used to spend on Met Police, yeah, Luton Police, securities, barrier, and all that money is no longer need to be spent, and we still only got this. Yeah.
You said
now, have a conversation about having.
You said at the beginning of your conversation when you started talking that it broke your heart.
Yeah.
Strong word. Yeah.
So, because I wasn't there, right? So I can't comment.
You want to know why?
Yeah. Tell us why it broke your heart.
Forget me as a sound system person. As a kid, yeah, like 10, 12 years old, whatever, Carnival had a lot more going on than what I saw there, yeah? And that was before the sound systems had that level of presence and before the parade ever got that big.
Right.
Yeah? To me, it was just like, it was so quick. Let me tell you something. I caught the back of the parade as it turned by Brewery Tap. I ran into town, and when I came up by St George's Square, I still only caught the back of the parade. How could that possibly be?
Wow. You know, look, I wasn't there, right? And I'm trying to be as fair and as impartial as possible. But my biggest fear for all elements of culture is unless you engage young people, we're all doomed, right?
For sure.
And from a sound system perspective, and I'm going to repeat what I said, and I said it at the beginning of the show, the uniqueness of Carnival in the UK is not only do you have the mass and the costumes and the procession, which absolutely has to be protected and celebrated, but the uniqueness of Carnival in the UK is the sound system element.
And it was the
And it,
sorry, go on.
And it just wasn't there from what I've heard and from what I've seen, actually, because, you know, even though I wasn't there, everyone's got a smartphone, and I saw the Facebook lives, and yeah.
Right. So I can tell you personally, I've seen that erosion coming from before to where it is now. Yeah.
Right.
And what people need to understand is there's some people that are just at carnival just for parade, and there's some people that's just there
for the sound system. That's a fact.
And there's some people that are there for carnival.
Right.
And what it is, the two elements support each other, because when we're along or close to the parade route, people that, cause there's some people that will stand up and watch the parade past them, and they will stand up like back in the day for a good 2 hours. That's how long the parade would be at least. Yeah, so you can stand static in one place and watch all that pass you. Yeah. Some people would follow the parade. Some people just want to see a bit and they're walking around.
Right.
But what it is, the sound systems keep people close to the parade route. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they serve a purpose.
Right. So people be hanging around thinking, well, I don't want to be following the parade, but I want to see some of it. You know what I mean? So they might be hanging out by a sound.
Right.
Oh, the parade's coming down now. They go past. And the same way, some of the people that are just there for the parade, when the parade's finished, they'll come back and support the sound. So,
but you know,
to me,
look, you know what it is, and without going into it, and I think we definitely need to do a whole show about the demise of sound system culture in this country, but that's a completely different conversation. But my thing is, when we as elders, because let's face it, we're all big people that are in this studio, and you're a big person that's on the phone, unless we are providing platforms that are attractive to young people, how are we going to engage them? So if we have any budding sound system DJs, whatever out there, and this is the example, how are we going to engage these young people so they have a say and they get encouraged to take part in Luton Carnival? Do you see what I mean?
For a fact, yeah, after I left the organisation, Jay Laverne from Venus, he actually put his own money into supporting Carnival for a couple of years personally.
Right.
I don't even know if that was an option or not, because I wasn't in that type of discussion and I haven't spoken to nobody, so I'm not alluding to anything there.
Right.
But I think, to be honest with you, the two biggest things I think we need to see is Carnival Arts, yeah, clearly they need support, yeah?
Yes.
Because they're the figurehead, and they're the people that are going to get all the other abuse or praise, regardless, yeah? But the truth of the matter is, they need support, but they need to reach out to the community, yeah, and raise some awareness. And the community need to realise, you know what, we had this massive, great event, yeah? And I heard the conversations earlier alluding to, like, with the diversity element of the carnival.
Right.
And to be honest with you, this is what I'm going to tell you the truth. Luton Carnival itself was always diverse, yeah?
Yes.
And because of how the parade was and how great it was great to be so inclusive, yeah?
Right.
But when you shrink it down to like this, then we must keep the core elements to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah? Which is the foundation. But generally speaking, I never had a problem with it. And I think it opened it up to more people. It made it more accessible. And it was a mix of cultures. So actually, this is why it breaks my heart when I tell you this, yeah? Because Luton Carnival is one of the few times in this town where you see so much different people that may not even come out at all.
Right, it's the highlight of their year, right?
And they'll come out with their family.
Yeah.
And regardless of whatever, the advertising, I mean, did LUR get approached to play an advert?
Look, I purposely, like I said, I'm trying to be devil's advocate here, and I'm also trying to be impartial. And I purposely wasn't going there, Sherlock. Right, I'm not going there, because it's not just about Luton Urban Radio. You know, I think the general consensus for a lot of the texts that have been sent is people want to know how they can become more involved, right? And
no, but hold on, we've got to address the elephant in the room though. I've had people telling me they went down to the Wardown Park looking for Carnival.
Because they didn't realise.
There was more people that wanted to support the event, even though it wasn't what it was. And they'd even... So they heard Carnival was on, and they're down at Wardown Park thinking, well, what's happening?
Right.
Yeah. And then because it's such a short event, they couldn't catch it. So, sorry, in closing, the biggest thing that no one has actually spoke about, yeah, of all the callers, yeah, is the truth, is the money. So, what we need is to know how much does it take to raise this? Where can we get the fundraising from? Where is the public lobbying the council?
Right.
Yeah. Luton Airport that supports some of these type of things, yeah? Right. Because if we want it, and I'm sure it generates revenue for the town.
Well, it must do, right? It must do. I mean, even on a very local, basic, you know, independent entrepreneurial stalls selling earrings or flags or patty. You know, this to me, this is a really important element of carnival. Look, I wasn't there, so I don't know if that element was missing, right? But you go to any...
No, it was. Because it's the fusion of everything that
Right,
makes it.
and no matter what carnival you go to, whether it's in Southend or whether it's in Leeds, you're gonna see Auntie Mary or whoever selling a patty or a flag or but thank you for your inputs. Look,
No problem.
we're not bashing anyone here, right? And
No, it's all about love.
It's all about love. And if people didn't love carnival, and if people weren't passionate about what used to be the biggest European carnival in Europe, then people wouldn't be so and I think, you know, whether you're for it, against it, whether you thought you had the time of your life or you didn't, the fact that we're all engaging respectfully is a beautiful thing. I think we've got another caller.
Right, I'm going to go. They say, Luton people, get behind because they'll break my heart again next year.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, good evening.
I think we definitely have to have further discussions about how we can get more involved and how we can actually, if possible, have a say. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time, Sherlock.
Yeah, we get a good range of views. That's
Yeah,
what I
we
like.
are. And, you know, it's not just about people saying it was the best thing since sliced bread or people saying it was the worst thing since, you know, I think it's really important. Yeah, I think it's important.
I sense a desire for people to want to have not only to volunteer, but also to have a say.
To have a say.
You know, to have a say in that.
Right.
And that does mean that when opportunities are provided, then people need to step forward.
Yes,
there's a clear invitation from Clary there.
Yeah.
And that people need to take her up on her kind invitation.
Right. We have another live caller. Please introduce yourself. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, hi.
Please introduce yourself. Thank you for calling the show.
Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Hi.
Hello there. I am a participant from Luton Carnival. And we participated before COVID and also this year.
Yes.
And I wanted to share some of the feedback from our experience being part of the procession. So I think it was a mix. It was a mix of different things. We struggled with some things, and there were parts that we really, really enjoyed. But one thing I would really want to highlight is I don't think a lot of the people from out there realize the amount of different things that we have to go through as carnival groups to put the show together. And me as a participant, you know, just doing this before carnival was totally different in terms of, we mentioned many times funding, but what funding means for someone like me who's trying to put a group together, a group of volunteers, meant like the production costs, for example, for me were, for example, the fabric I used to get pre-COVID for, I don't know, 150 per meter is all of a sudden 285 a meter or £3 a meter.
Right.
So my costs literally doubled. And when we talk about funding, and also I think sometimes when we compare carnival to other commercial events, it's sometimes we don't realize it's actually a lot of the other events work differently, but carnival is really volunteer oriented. So the struggles that I had to put a group together post-COVID was the fact that many of our members, and I know many other groups were in the same position, that a lot of our members actually didn't come back because post-COVID they are in a situation where everybody obviously wants to earn some money and, you know, get a job, and they just didn't have the volunteer hours that they used to be able to offer pre-COVID, you know.
So it was a real struggle. It's been a real struggle.
So there was so much work and weeks and months of work, and we are away from our families, you know, working there till, you know, late hours, missing school runs because we're there trying to, you know, make costumes and, you know, be there to put the event out there. There's a lot of the behind-the-scenes work that the general public doesn't obviously they don't realise because they don't get to see our stress.
It's all the more important, Sarah, that for all your times of all your hours of work, that we give you a correct and good platform in order to show off the fruits of your labour, isn't it? That's what I think what we're talking about here. And did you think that the ingredients of this year's carnival gave you a good return on all those hours and money that you'd spent?
To be honest, I mean, from somebody who is, again, I'm a Pakistani origin, and the groups we worked with were Muslim Women for Peace. There was refugee groups we worked with. I'll come to that in a bit. For us, just having this show and the opportunity to be part of a community event. And by the way, I'm from London, but I only do Luton Carnival. And it's the fact that I bring my two little girls to Carnival. My husband comes with me. It's because of the fact that it's a family-oriented carnival. It's a family show. For us to be part of a community event where we get to see, it's just the most amazing experience for me to be working with, I made friends with the Polish group, and, I have the Hungarian friend there, and I have my Caribbean friends there, and, I'm a Pakistani person, and this year we worked with the Afghan refugees. And I think through this discussion, I really want to highlight that, we really touched their lives. We gave them a life-changing experience. These children came from a war zone in September. They're still living in hotels. And for them to be part of such a big event, the fact that, yes, I understand you are comparing it from previous years and you love the event, which is why, we have all the feedback. But I would like it to be a slightly longer route, that would be fun.
Right.
But just to be out there after COVID, to go through all of the struggles of, having all the production costs, but still managing to get the volunteers and touching those little children and their lives who have now gone home saying, we felt welcome in this country. We had welcome in this country. We felt like we were part of Luton. They've only arrived in September, remember. Those special moments they will stay with us. And next year we hope to improve. We hope to do a lot better and a lot bigger and a lot longer route. And I hope we have the funds for it. But I just want to say that there was lots of positive that we took from the experience.
Well, yours is a message of real hope, Zara, because, I think you've really been very persuasive, okay, to give those refugees a sense that they're part of the Luton town experience. Has been a really powerful message. So thank you very much for your contribution, your valuable contribution today. Thank you very much. We've got one more. Thank you. We've got one more caller, I think. The next one.
So that was a completely different perspective, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And, it does show you that the spirit of carnival has caught on in other communities.
Which is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
And they're using that opportunity to weave other communities back into carnival.
And that was interesting because Zara isn't from Luton, is she?
No.
So...
No. But my point is, before we go to the next caller, is that I think that there used to be and there could and should be room for all of that.
Yes.
So we can have the Cub Scouts selling the beef burgers, always remember, in the park.
Right.
Okay, we can have the genuine carnival parade.
Right.
And giving the full platform for people. And then we can have the sound system afterwards. We all know that some people left after the parade and others stayed.
Right.
Others arrived after the parade.
Right.
Because it's for everyone.
It's for everyone.
So if you organise the full day, everyone can get what they want from Luton Carnival.
Exactly.
And they always have
Exactly.
It's not either or.
No.
Everyone can have what they want.
Well put, Paul. We have another caller who's on the line, please.
Hello, it's Sandra. Sandra.
Oh, hi, we can hear you. I think it was my phone, Sandra. How are you doing? Hi.
What's your perspective on our discussion this evening, Sandra?
It's been very varied and very useful. And this is the best one. I wanted to thank the Carnival Centre for bringing back the Carnival, because I know that the bill is big, including the policing, which they forgot to mention. But and also wanted to thank LUR, because you've done very well, guys, to be on air and doing us proud with all the different events and talent acts and things you've been doing. So just quick thank you to everybody. As far as Carnival's concerned, I'm born in Luton and I've been to Carnival since it started. And I think the early roots with the Caribbean woman that was involved at the time. It started up a bit of a half and half for the English community it wasn't as diverse as now, and maybe half of the Caribbean. But the Caribbean took over a large element of it when it got into the 70s and 80s, particularly with the sound and everybody would be going to the sound. It was a very diverse crowd, but mainly it drew the Caribbean young people there and it gave them something to look forward to.
Right.
When I heard that the sound systems weren't going to be in town and they hadn't been told about Carnival, I was gutted because I thought that is Carnival.
Right.
And then they said they're going to be at another location, Marsh House, and it had to be late in the day. And I said,
No. Can I just stop you there, because the event that happened at Marsh House had nothing to do with Luton Carnival. We as a radio station just felt, because there was a carnival and because it was a bank holiday weekend, we had to have an after carnival party, but that had absolutely nothing to do with Luton Carnival. That was was all off our own back, because it's mass season, right? So for us, you go to Carnival and a lot of people want to party afterwards, but we didn't do that in collaboration with anyone. We just took that upon ourselves. So so I just had to make that clear.
Yeah, sure. I was in town with a Brazilian, who you know, they're the kings of Carnival.
Yeah.
And and an American friend of mine. They came from London, and some locals. I mean, we headed straight to St George's Square for the beginning of what would have been the parade coming into the square. We didn't know what to expect,
right?
Because we'd been hearing the reports from the brewery tap all the way down to Manor Road, but there was no crowds at 12 noon, and we said that's a bit weird.
Right.
So people didn't know it was happening enough, because for me the crowd would have been on the street from 11 waiting for something to happen.
Right.
When the fun fair was cancelled at Manor Park, and I realised that Manor Park was actually only a fun fair, that was disappointing. I thought, what do they expect the families to do who can't afford a fun fair?
Right.
There was no information to tell them what to expect. There wasn't enough, and that route map that they gave us of the route came out far too late. They should have been drip feeding that to us for 6 months, because it's a major change.
Right.
Major change.
Right.
And I saw the young people's comments, and that it was too short and disappointing that they thought they were going to go around twice. And I was devastated, because they'd gone through all the effort to make the costumes. They tried so hard to get themselves together. They got all worked up for something. I mean, it felt like a bit of a damp squid.
Right.
When it gets to St George's Square, with that gated area, cattle herding us, and not enough people watching, because as you see, I'm there like almost towards the end of the carnival. I was there from the beginning to the end, and there's nobody in front of me, but it's empty.
Right.
My foot there, you'll see I'm sitting on the wall by the library.
Yeah,
unfortunately, they made no provision for people who have a challenge with mobility.
Sure.
So I had to sit down for a long time and only hear the commentary from I think it was Joanne Hudson-Lett. She was commentating. A lot of people couldn't understand what she was saying, because the setup of the sound wasn't happening that day.
Yeah, I did hear.
Couldn't understand. A lot of people are speaking down that mic.
Yeah, we have received a text to say that the PA system in the actual square was
insufficient.
Well, I'm reading here it was a waste of time.
Right. I was stood at the mall end at one point, and then sat on the sign. There's a sign for St George's Square, but that's uncomfortable. I had to stand on that sign for about an hour and a half to see the first acts coming through. Loved the Ghanaian and everybody. Loved the lot of young children though. I felt that there was a bit missing for anybody who was 12 to 25.
Right.
Because you have to engage them as your key audience with any marketing you're doing, and any programming. And there was, if you had little kids, they loved it. If you had older people like me, we got into it, but the in between, the middle bit was missing.
You know, Sandra, this is exactly what I'm saying, right? As you know, I'm going to repeat myself. As much as I'm trying to be impartial, right? It worries me that anyone does any kind of community event, especially something such as Carnival, and you're missing that element of attracting the people that we're meant to be carrying the baton onto. So that age groups, that from early teens to mid-20s is crucial. Okay, it's so crucial, because we're not going to be here in 20, 30 years.
Right. And they've been making costumes for months. They're looking forward to having a bit of dance in town.
We want these young people to be carrying on the carnival, to be DJing at the carnival, to be making costumes for the carnival. So look, as impartial as I've tried to be this evening, right, and I'm not having a go at anyone. I think sometimes when you give your opinions, people get offended. I'm being very respectful here. We need to attract our young people. There's not a lot happening for them in this town. Right. There was
nothing for families though, goodness to you, apart from the stilt walkers and the dinosaurs and 2 jerk chicken stands.
Wow.
Fortunately, they should have reached out to people who wanted to bring something that day and make it more. Yeah.
Right.
It's not too difficult to say, look, we need your help, community, to make this more.
Right.
And they could have had a bit more of a sensational outcome.
We really,
we know it's difficult. Let's be honest, we all know it's difficult.
I apologise.
They've got lots of paid people putting this on. The volunteers are making the costumes. Yeah?
I apologise for cutting this call short. The 2 hours has literally flown by. You've made some brilliant points, and we thank you for those. And I'm hoping that for Luton Carnival 2023, assuming that we're going to have one, that you have a say, we all have a say, and we can all volunteer, put our money where our mouth's at. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. We all have an input, because I think everyone's got an opinion, and I just hope that there's a publicly renowned platform that people can recognise, that they can volunteer, they can offer ideas, and they can actually offer help. But thank you for your call, Sandra, because we've literally got
keep up the good work, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And it's about the taking part.
It's about
That's
the
really
taking
important
part.
For me, it's about taking part and just contacting that website earlier.
Right, which we need the formal details for, because this has to be a campaign, right? Yeah, this can't be a lastminute.com thing. So if we have all the relevant information, I think we have a duty of care as a radio station to keep pumping it out so we get more involvement, especially from our younger people.
Yeah, I do concur that our younger people need to be involved.
It's crucial.
Definitely.
You know, and it's not a criticism. I mean, even with this radio station, you both know we are desperately trying to get younger people involved. It can't just be a platform for older people.
Yeah.
There's no point. So yeah, it's been quite a good show.
Yeah, and hopefully long may it last.
Yes,
we don't want to lose it.
We don't want to lose it. And you know, thank you for everyone that has called in or texted in this evening. Sorry if we didn't get through to you. I hope everyone's taken something from this and no one takes anything personally, because it's important for the town, and there's not a lot going on in Luton at the moment. So I think this is why a lot of people are really invested in Luton Carnival. It's important. Anything you want to say, Anne?
Long may it last.
Long may it last. And she's put her fist. She's air fisting.
Yes, and people must take part. It's a wonderful buzz and a wonderful experience.
Right.
And a lot of people who called and talked about the preparation and so on.
Yes.
It's not only hard work. There's a buzz. There's a camaraderie.
Right.
There's meeting everybody and making new friends is really important. But it's really important that we keep Luton on the map.
I think so.
And the carnival is one of the most brilliant ways to do it.
Yeah, I think so. And maybe next year there will be things that will entice people, to younger people and older people, to get more involved.
And to maybe get local businesses involved as well.
Yes.
That should
because clearly one of the clear themes that has been running through this show is funding, money.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know how that all works. Maybe I need to educate myself, but clearly one of the reasons why, let's face it, we're struggling a little bit. No disrespect to anyone, because I think anyone that took part deserves a medal, but clearly money runs the world, and money is needed for Luton Carnival. Any final thoughts before we close for the evening? Paul's gone and sat down.
No, I just feel that it is, but it's a great opportunity for everyone.
Right.
Because this is, as we said, the largest
one-day carnival in Europe.
Okay, and that was one of the things that sells the town.
Right.
Okay, so this is
it's important.
Money well spent.
Yeah, it's
from the Cub Scout. I go back to the Cub Scouts that used to sell burgers and used to raise funds and
right
from the people selling the patty and the salsa and
Right.
everything else.
Yeah.
That's important. And for those businesses in the town centre, we're going to have it in the town centre. Let's have it there. But let's have it a thing that really puts Luton back on the map again.
Brilliant.
You know, I think that's important. And we're missing a trick if we don't even out the funding to make sure that we put it back on the right place, the right date, in a way that you know, embraces diversity, different communities as a really touching call, but doesn't lose touch of its roots.
Right.
Yeah.
As represented by the callers and our friends.
Right. Thank you all for tuning in, guys. And yeah, we'll be back with the dedication show next week, Tuesday, between 8 and 10.
Assassino.